Hi, I'm Loki Snyman, and you are listening to Coffee in the Park with Jennifer and Cam.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Coffee in the Park with Jennifer and Cam. And we are coming to you this morning live from the Wall Coffee Roasters in the heart of beautiful downtown Atchison. So if you hear some coffee noises in the background, machines whirring, people talking, kids, no kids today, but they might come in screaming. It's because we're live at the coffee shop, right, Jennifer. And it's a beautiful day today in downtown Atchison.
29 degrees.
29 degrees. And guess what? No rain.
No rain.
I know. Listeners have listen, you've heard us talk about a summer of rain.
I know.
And today is no rain.
No, it's beautiful all the way into the weekend.
I'm so excited. We have all the way into the weekend? Really?
Yes.
So we're like 3 or 4 days with no rain.
Almost 30-degree weather.
It's a record in Alberta, folks, or in Edmonton anyways. Unbelievable.
I know.
Hey, we need to tell you some housekeeping announcements. We are brought to you by Wingsnob Canada.
Where the wings, Cam, are fresh, never frozen, with 16 different flavors and 4 different rubs.
That's right, and they got things like cornbread and Parmesan fries and all kinds of stuff. So hey, if you're wondering, what should I do for dinner tonight? Why don't you check out Wingsnob?
That's right.
www.wingsnob.ca. 10 locations in the city of Edmonton, 1 in Calgary, 1 in Grand Prairie. I find that so funny. It just catches me every time I sit
point
there.
every time. No one
I
can
point
see you
towards
point.
Calgary and I point towards Grand Prairie, and nobody sees that. And I'm like, why do you point? Nobody sees that.
Now,
it helps me.
Okay, before I forget, there's some things we need to talk about the coffee shop that you and I just recently found out.
That's right.
I can't believe we just found out about
We
this.
could be breaking news here. I'm not sure if we're actually allowed to break the news
we're
yet.
We're
breaking the news because they have some new drinks coming up.
Well, fall drinks.
Fall drinks.
Yes, but I'm talking about, did you know you can online order and set your time for pickup at the Wall Coffee Roaster?
I know. We just found this out.
How did we not know this?
I don't know. You can go to their website, which is, I don't know what their website is.
The Wall
But
Coffee
just search
Roaster.
in that Google thing, the Wall Coffee Roasters in Atchison, and you could be like in South Edmonton and think, I need a drink at the Wall Coffee Roasters. You can enter it into your little thing on the website, tell them the time that you're going to be here, and arrive here, and they'll have that ready for you.
Listen, folks in Atchison, if you're stuck at the train,
That's right.
and you think,
that's right.
I don't have enough time to get my coffee, you can pre-order.
34 times a day, the train goes
I think
through
it's 37.
Atchison. 37 now.
Yes.
37, it's increased. It's like, on our side, you could be going to A&W or Tim Hortons on the other side, stuck at the train, get your order, come back, stuck at another train.
I know.
So now you can just do it on the website and get your drink.
I can't believe we didn't know this.
Absolutely phenomenal. Unbelievable. Another opportunity for you to come to the Wall Coffee Roasters in the heart of beautiful downtown Atchison. I think today is a very exciting day for a lot of reasons because our guest is amazing and it is so apropos to the type of summer we've had.
I know. I have so many questions.
So apropos.
Yes.
So folks, if you are listening to us in the Edmonton area, this is going to be so apropos, but I don't know if this is happening in other areas in Canada, if we're experiencing the same thing.
Well, it doesn't matter because everybody's experienced.
That's true. At some time or another,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So why don't you introduce our guest and let's give her.
Okay.
Let's get on with it.
I'm excited to introduce today Loki Snyman, who is the Curator of Invertebrate Zoology at the Royal Alberta Museum.
Welcome, Loki. Good to have you.
Thanks. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we're excited to have you is because you're also an expert in mosquitoes.
Yeah, mosquitoes, ticks, everything that irritates you.
Mosquitoes and ticks.
So that's why we were excited
much.
to have you because for those of you who don't know, our listeners around the world, we've had a very, very bad mosquito season. So today we're going to find out from you all the ins, and the outs of mosquitoes. But before we do that, Jennifer.
First, we need to find out a little bit about you. So Loki, tell us, where were you born and where did you grow up?
So I was born in South Africa, in Gauteng, the sort of economic hub of South Africa, and I studied there, completed all my studies there, and then moved down to Durban, where I was a curator of insects in the local museum there. And about 4.5 years ago, I moved to Saskatoon first with my family. And then from there, I got the job at the Royal Alberta Museum.
And so how was that? The leaving South Africa, because South Africa is pretty warm, pretty nice.
Yes, yeah. So especially Durban, where I stayed before I moved, it's a subtropical city. So you've got winters that's about the same temperatures as summers in Edmonton. So it's quite different.
Was that your first winter experience? Had you never?
No, I went skiing once before, so I have at least seen snow and that sort of stuff. But that was definitely my
we
my
love
first
you, Saskatoon,
minus.
but you get a little cold.
Yes, that's right. Was there any second thoughts as you're driving down the road? In
you
snow?
can imagine. It's we landed and there was sort of a blizzard going, and I was driving on the different side of the road, and it was just thoughts race through your head there.
Right, yeah. So I guess the bigger question is, okay, so you're living in South Africa, born and raised South Africa, living in South Africa. Why insects?
So that's a good question. I'm not sure entirely myself. I was sort of a nature enthusiast as I grew up, and I really wanted to be a farmer and farm with foliage actually for flower arrangements and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So I started with plant propagation and soon realized biology is more interesting and switched over to botany and completed my degree in plant science or botany. And in my final year I did a insect course, and that just captivated me. So I switched over and started playing with the insects.
Were you one of those little kids who, like, when you were like little, had them in the jar and were like,
so
I did that. Like, I don't really like insects much, but remember you used to put them in the jar.
So I had all sorts of snakes and insects and spiders in my room. I know our cleaners were not interested in going into my room at all. So I just had this sort of zoo in my room when I was a child.
Cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
And you met you said you're married, so did you meet your wife while you were going to school in South Africa? She's also South African.
Yeah, she's also South African. Yes, we met. She initially wanted to be a vet and studied animal science, and after volunteering at a vet, she decided virology is more her speed, so she switched over and took a few zoology subjects, and that's where we met.
So you're both in the same field.
Yeah, so she works on viruses transmitted by insects, and I work on insects transmitting viruses.
I was going to say, healthy insects that transmit the viruses. So
we collaborate a lot.
I was going to say, you had a lot in common. That would have been great on your dates and stuff like that, because you got a lot to talk about. So that's kind of cool.
So why did you come to Canada? Why Saskatoon? Was there a job offer?
Yes, my wife got a postdoc position in Saskatoon, and soon after I got a postdoc position as well at the same institution, and we decided to come over. I've got a sister in Kelowna, so we've got family here. She's been here for 15 years or so, and my other sister's in Chicago, so we thought it's a good middle ground. And,
Saskatoon. Who visits who? Do they come see you or you go see them? That's pretty cool. Wow.
So you worked at the University of Saskatchewan then?
Yes.
And so what was obviously you were focused on insects. What were you doing? Like, what department were you with?
So I was at the vet school with microbiology and parasitology, and I worked on ticks.
Ticks.
Yes, so that was the first switch over to a non-insect. I actually studied evolution and did systematics on a beautiful group of lacewings, Mantispidae, and mantid flies, as they're colloquially called. And after that, in South Africa, there's no funding for straight evolutionary studies.
Right.
So I did a year as a technician on mosquitoes and found out how interesting mosquitoes can be. And it's and
let's
that
go back
brought
to
me
ticks
into,
for a second, because I hear this is a bad year for ticks as well.
Yes, this is a bad year for ticks, definitely.
What makes, like, this is what I don't know. 1 year's, you don't hear much about it, and then the next year you hear, it's a bad year for ticks. What Why?
Well, it depends. Bad year for ticks. It's great for them. It's bad for us, I guess. It's.
I've never heard it put that way.
That's a great line.
That's a great line.
That
Great
needs to
for
be a
them,
t-shirt.
bad for that does need to be a T-shirt. Great for them, bad for us. I love it. That is awesome.
No, so when you have ticks are mostly prone to desiccation, so they dry out very quickly, and they're very tiny when they get born or they emerge from the eggs, and then they're very prone to desiccation. So what they need to do when they overwinter is need a lot of snow cover. Snow cover provides a lot of shelter and a stable temperature. And then, of course, the following year, there's a lot of moisture around, and if there's a little bit of heat and moisture, they can quickly go through the succession and become adults. Yes. So
I didn't know about the winter. They don't die off in the winter?
No.
They're
So
hibernating?
you don't need to like ticks, but you need to respect them because they go through...
Also a great line.
We got T-shirts coming up, folks. These are the greatest sayings I've ever heard.
No, so most of the ticks take 3 years to reach adulthood. So,
that right?
Yes, and it's these tiny little things that need to crawl around, and they don't really actively pursue prey. They sort of sit and wait around. Some of them do. You do get hunting ticks, but most of them just quest. They sit on a leaf and wait for something to walk by, and then they can get their blood meal that they need to succeed to the next phase. So it's nymphal phases and then adult phase. And after each blood meal, they drop off again, molt, and wait. And overwinter and then wait.
I didn't know ticks molted either.
No, I didn't either.
No.
But here's my question with this, because sorry, take that back. Not you're normal. But us who don't know any of this, we don't know any of this. Just the average person, we think ticks are bad. Is there any value to a tick? In the ecosystem, is there a value to it?
Yes, there's a lot of value in anything in an ecosystem.
Right.
So if we haven't tied it down yet, we just don't know yet. But the ticks we know definitely. I mean, things like diseases are important for population control.
Yeah.
So ticks do that. So from that end, they feed a lot of animals, birds especially, all over the world. So no, there's always, even the stuff that's sort of a nuisance to us that we want to control still serves a purpose in the ecosystem. Same with mosquitoes. I mean,
Yes, this is my question.
Yeah,
Does the mosquito serve a purpose?
Before we get to mosquitoes, though, I do have one, and I know, you're a brilliant man. You are brilliant. But a person gets a tick. How do you get the tick off? What's the best way to get the tick off?
well,
Don't burn it out.
Yeah, because a
Remember
lot of
that?
people heard you take a flame or something.
no, definitely don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. So the tick embeds a mouth part into your skin, and that gets cemented there. So if it's been there for a while, it really gets stuck. If it has, and it's got recurved sort of spines that keeps the mouth part in your skin. So it's quite a gruesome sort of attachment. And so you get tick pullers. That works well. It almost looks like a teardrop that you pull over the tick and go towards the pointy end of the teardrop, and that just firmly grips the tick, and then with one tug you can pull it off. If you have tweezers, that works as well, but you don't want to sort of twist or burn or something, because the mouth parts will remain behind, and that will lead to secondary infections and that sort of stuff. So and if you're
I didn't know that.
if you're worried about it, you can always go to a medical practitioner, and they will remove
They'll
it
take
for
it
you.
out. Yeah, I mean, and it happens, and people who are spending a lot of time in the woods, in the forests, in the bush, that kind of thing.
But I find, and I don't know, I think that used to be the case, but I find ticks are moving more and more, I'll say urban, right? Rather than just in the middle of nowhere.
So in Edmonton, I think we're still okay. The Saskatchewan, for instance, has the very rapid movement of the American dog tick moving sort of westwards, and there's a lot of ticks there, lot of ticks there, which you don't really see here. The tick we sort of have here that's most dominant is the Rocky Mountain wood tick, and that occurs more towards the south, drier regions, but we do get it here. And you'll get sporadic ticks that get dropped off by birds, including the lime transmitting tick, the deer
So
tick.
that's the dangerous one, right?
That's the
Because
that's
Lyme
the
disease,
that's the
right?
dangerous one. Yeah, Rocky
Yeah.
Mountain wood tick can also transmit pathogens that cause Rocky
Right.
Mountain spotted fever and so on, and transmit pathogens to animals. So ticks can be
Yeah.
a problem, but
Yeah.
in Edmonton it's not too bad.
We're tick free. Well, I don't know if
Don't
we're tick
say
free.
we're
No,
tick
not
free.
Don't tick
but-
free.
Yeah, but limited number of
Limited
ticks.
numbers.
Less-
What-
less worry.
Less ticks.
What is
Less
interesting
ticks.
is that there's that Edmonton seems to be a very good spot for the Lyme tick. So we get a lot of one of my collaborators, Jade Savage from Bishop's University. She runs a platform called eTick, and where you can take a photo of a tick and submit it. The tick
Right.
gets identified, and they'll provide you basic information on the tick. And using
That's
this
cool.
data,
Yeah.
we can see that Edmonton has a lot of ticks being dropped off here, which we assume is being dropped off by birds, since we haven't found any evidence of ticks establishing here.
Yeah. Wow.
Any of those ticks
Those
at
birds,
least.
I'm telling you. I don't like birds.
So this is on-
Here's another reason not to like a bird.
This is on the boreal zone, so
Yeah.
they sort of migrate past here, and ticks catch a hitch.
I mean, what I've learned here today, I thought they would all die off in the winter. From
No.
the very
That's kinda what I thought,
cold
too.
winters. But they're still
Yeah,
survivors.
no, they're very good
Yeah.
at surviving.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very fascinating, actually, because you do think they're just going to die. All we need is a cold winter, but no, they're going to survive that.
Yeah, and that's sort of the reason for the dog tick spreading so quickly. So they've got a behavioral difference. They, when they emerge from air cases, they can decide whether they want to quest or go into the soil for hibernation or for overwintering, where the Andersoni, the Rocky Mountain wood tick, always quest. So when they quest at the wrong time of the year, they will die.
So what does that
They'll
mean
die.
when they
So when they emerge in something like fall, this time
Yeah.
of the year,
Yeah.
they will climb up and look for a host, but those that's unsuccessful will freeze to death.
right, right.
So you get a more sort of predictable life cycle
Yeah,
from them,
yeah.
where the Rocky Mountain wood tick will climb up to grass, and if it gets too cold, it will climb back down and
This is fascinating.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
there's
know
no-
any of this. This is incredible.
I know.
Actually,
No,
this
so
is really amazing. Okay, do you want to get on to the hot topic? Because this in Alberta or Edmonton, let's just say Edmonton, because that's what I know best. Seems to have been a very bad year for mosquitoes. And everybody doesn't like mosquito. Not everybody likes. No, I don't know anybody that likes mosquitoes. They're not like my favorite insect. That's guaranteed.
No.
So
Well, again, when he said everything serves a purpose, I'm like,
yeah,
what?
so that's
purpose
right. That
does
was
the
my first thought.
mosquito-
What purpose does a mosquito serve? And it's like you can't even sit out at night on your patio or go to the park, and you're just this year. I don't know why you're just covered in mosquitoes this year. Like, how can that have a purpose? I don't know if there's any purpose in that.
So, I mean, of course, in cities we create perfect environments for mosquitoes, and that's why, a city is not a natural space. And, of course, you get unequal or the population explosions in places that don't have everything there to keep things under control. But Edmonton's got a fantastic pest control unit headed by Mike Jenkins of the city.
Yeah.
And they try to keep the mosquito numbers down as possible. But from what I understand from him this year, they started recording in 1990, I think, mosquito numbers, and this has been the record. So this was a very...
Really?
Wow.
So we're
this
not
was
wrong. We're not imagining
Yeah,
that
no,
there's...
this was bad. And what I can sort of see, I haven't looked at the data, but just anecdotally from walking my dogs, it looks like there's been... So generally, most of the floodwater mosquitoes will only emerge once and mate once and lay eggs once a year. But this year, it seems like there's been two
I agree.
Wha-
Yes.
two spikes.
Why is that? Like,
So just a lot of rain
well,
and
we had
Standing
a lot of
water.
rain,
standing
yeah.
water. Yeah, so rain was a big thing,
Yeah.
and you get big explosions of mosquitoes when such a lot of rain falls. So how these floodwater mosquitoes work? So after they've mated and fed and produced eggs, they will lay the eggs on the edge or the margin of temporary water pools.
Okay, yeah.
And those eggs will remain there for quite a while. Let's say, I think the record is 10 years.
What?
In Canada, I think we're looking at 2 or 3 years that the egg will remain there.
And again, do those eggs survive in Alberta?
Yes,
winter?
they survive.
do?
Yeah, they're tough little things. Yeah. Oh.
Oh my goodness, this is the problem. We need them to die in the winter, but they're not dying.
So
Wow.
the larvae are aquatic, right? So the
Yeah.
next year, when the snow melts and the pools fill up, all the eggs that reach the water line will emerge and become aquatic larvae. So the more water falls, the more eggs will emerge because it reaches more water, and that's why you get these massive explosive years.
So that could mean, and certainly tell me if I'm wrong, with the amount of water we've had this year, the amount of standing water, all of that kind of stuff, the next few years could even be bad mosquito years.
So actually, ironically, probably not, because if the water is very high and the mosquitoes start depositing eggs, the eggs will be deposited at a very high spot along the margin. So if the subsequent year there's not a lot of water, it will never reach the eggs.
It won't reach Ace to get them all.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what we need to hope for. Right?
Yeah, so it can be, and there's other things, like the West Nile mosquitoes.
Yes.
Pipiens, that's a new arrival on the scene. Culex pipiens, the house mosquito or something. And Tarsalis, which is the local vector, Culex tarsalis. They prefer standing water, so container breeders, and they will breed in sewage systems, stuff like that. And a lot of rain actually washed them away. So we might actually see fewer mosquitoes of the Culex genus this year.
You're my best friend.
But they overwinter as adults, which is absolutely fascinating to me. Yeah. So
Incredible.
they.
You mentioned West Nile.
Yes.
And we hear about that in the news. Again, the layman, the average person, here's West Nile. I was talking with somebody this morning. The first thing they said is, well, do they come from Egypt? Do they come from the Nile? Is that so? Sounds like a silly question, but it's a West Nile virus. Why are we experiencing, it seems like, higher numbers of West Nile virus cases?
Or those type of mosquitoes.
Why are we and where are they coming from, and why are they carrying a West Nile virus?
That's a very complex question, I think, but it's an African virus, so it originated in Africa, and it's through most of Africa, and it arrived here via birds. So it's got a complex life cycle. It infects birds, so birds are what we call the reservoir. A lot of the birds don't display symptoms. Some of them die from the virus, like corvids and magpies. But other birds just carry the virus, and they reach a high viremia, which means there's lots of virus in the blood, and then mosquitoes bite the bird.
So it's not the mosquito that originally has the virus.
No,
it's the bird that has the virus.
But
I didn't know that.
But the mosquito transmitted among birds, right? So what makes a good West Nile vector is something like this Culex pipiens that's now here, which you get forms that bite birds and bite humans, and that creates a bridge between humans and birds. So if you have a mosquito that just prefers birds, it's just going to close the loop between birds. But as soon as you have mosquito species that target humans or mammals and birds, then you get the outbreaks. And Culex pipiens arrived in Calgary, I think around 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And there's one of my colleagues who's working a lot on them, John Sogigian from University of Calgary. And it exploded in numbers because, of course, it's a city. It's well adapted to city life, and everyone keeps a little bit of water in the pot plants, and that's exactly what they need to flourish.
Wow.
So it's here in Edmonton. I mean, the majority of Culex we find now is pipiens, no longer restruans.
So it's growing?
Massively, massively.
Really?
So exponentially, So it's been a...
Is that right?
Yeah, so...
This is fascinating because first of all, now I sort of understand the origin of it, and that's... You need to... Now you can kind of figure it out a little bit, so...
Yeah, so I mean, in Canada, I think it arrived in New York, something like 2002, and it had a big effect on, because the population was naive to the virus, and It caused quite a lot of problems in eastern North America and Canada as well.
Right.
And the virus rapidly moved through the areas, but it's no longer a naive population sitting with the virus. So there's a lot of antibodies, a lot of protection, and
so if you get West Nile virus, is there a vaccine? Is there, obviously there's treatment. We know
there's a lot of treatment. I think a lot of it goes undiagnosed as well, but I'm not a medical doctor at all. So, so a lot of it's...
because Jennifer the other day thought she had the West Nile.
I self-diagnosed.
She self-diagnosed, and obviously Google was her doctor. And she came into my office and announced she had the West Nile, which we immediately quarantined her in her office. She wasn't allowed to come out for the whole day. No, just kidding. But yeah.
So yes, I mean, a lot of it a lot of infections don't end up in disease necessarily.
Right.
So you don't necessarily have symptoms. The most common one is a rash and fever and headaches and so on. So it gets treated as a virus, general virus. And that's where my wife's and my work come in quite a lot. So we are looking for arboviruses, which are arthropod-borne viruses. So viruses transmitted by insects and other creepy crawlies. And we've got a couple of them that's endemic in this area. Jamestown Canyon virus, which we don't have a clue. Snowshoe hare virus, which we don't have a clue how many people get affected by it and how many people get treated. But they may get it, So we're actively researching that at the moment.
You may not have been far off. You might not have had the West Nile, but you might have had one of those other ones. So
just one that I self-diagnosed with.
That's right.
I know.
Yeah, it's
know.
incredible. This is incredible.
So, I have a question, and I don't know how many different mosquito breeds are there in the world?
Species,
yes.
No, a lot. 3,500 around there. Yeah. So it's a very diverse group of insects.
Right. So obviously we don't have time to go through the 3,000 differences. But what are we? Let's be honest. Again, the layperson, mosquito lands on you, you slap it, it's done, or he gets you and you're scratching.
But I don't know. Don't you think like some are? You notice like even size differences.
Well,
like some are large.
I said that. I felt this year's mosquitoes were bigger than in the past.
When you get bit.
Was that? Am I right?
No,
not.
No, unfortunately not. No, it's the same species, but the large mosquitoes. Well, I mean, a lot, right? So it's like having a leopard and a lion next to one another.
Right,
it's sort of the same, but not. And we define these species along very strict criteria, and sometimes we make mistakes and we learn more about it and we split one species into two, or we add two species together into one. And and that's my speciality, is systematics and taxonomy. So the large ones you saw this year, some of the larger ones that you get in Edmonton will be Aedes flavescens, which is a floodwater mosquito, so with just more large mosquitoes as well. The small ones were still available. The prairie mosquito is the small dark one.
They're growing,
And then this time of the year, you'll see Culiseta inornata a lot, one that overwinters as adults. So they are still active and still flying around. And they are dark, so it's the big dark ones you see now.
Okay, I know this is a very simplistic question, but for our audience, not that our audience is simplistic, why the heck does a mosquito land on you and do what he does or she does on you, flies away, and then you're left scratching for like 3 days?
So that's...
I know that sounds simplistic, but I don't know why they do. Why do they need to do that?
So it's only female mosquitoes that bite you. The males don't bite. So the males are just nectar feeders, and they play a role in pollination, for instance, in some of the plants in Canada. The females take a blood meal to produce eggs, which is not uncommon in flies. So mosquito are a part of the fly order, Diptera. So it's not uncommon for only the female to need the extra protein to produce eggs. And when they land on you and they take the blood meal, they release a bunch of toxins and anticoagulants and stuff like that,
Right.
which your body may react to.
Sure.
And that opens a interesting sort of thought, because a lot of people feel like mosquitoes are attracted to females more, which is actually not really true, but females do react more to mosquito bites more often. So they think they're being bitten more because they know of the bites more, where
Right.
males tend not to
This is
know
good
of
to
the
know.
bites. Yeah.
This is very good to know. My daughter, excuse me, my daughter, she's always complaining. She's scratching. I got bit, and there's nothing there. I think it's in her head, but you've helped confirm some things. That's good to know. Yeah, interesting.
Mosquitoes, but I mean the differences are very sparse. They will take what they can find.
Do they
And
need our blood to reproduce?
yes, to
Okay.
produce eggs.
Right.
Yeah, so they will mate and then take a blood
Yeah.
meal to produce eggs and deposit the eggs.
Nobody
Yep.
likes mosquitoes.
Nobody likes
Obviously.
mosquitoes,
But-
but they're fascinating.
But
I mean, you
so
get
You
interesting
said
stuff.
everything has a benefit.
Yes.
Okay. This is the big moment. What is the benefit of a mosquito?
So mosquitoes have multiple ones. You get specialist mosquitoes that, for instance, pollinate plants. But it's not just that. The sheer volume of mosquitoes in water bodies provide a very, very good food source for a bunch of things. So if you think about things like dragonflies,
Yeah, yeah.
they will
That's right.
probably be lost without mosquitoes.
Yeah.
They serve quite an important predatory purpose. They feed on all sorts of other insects, so you'll get a very quick ecological cascade.
Right.
Which basically means if you take one cog out of the wheel, everything sort of tumbles.
Right, yeah,
And personally, I think mosquitoes are a very important part in the ecological functioning of
Yeah.
any wetland.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I agree with you too. It's just that they're irritating.
No, they are irritating.
I think they're irritating.
But you should take a look at one under a microscope.
Yeah.
You'll see they're absolutely beautiful little insects when you get them up close. They've got silvery scales and all sorts of colors, and it's just too tiny to see with the eye.
So we want to see the good in the mosquito, not just the bad in the mosquito.
Yeah, you get some mosquitoes that, as larvae, feed on other mosquito larvae.
Yeah.
You get some mosquitoes that don't bite at all, don't
Right.
need a blood meal to reproduce. You get some of the mosquitoes that just live in pitcher plants and things like that. So there's the biology is absolutely fascinating.
Okay, so again, I know this is you're an extremely educated man, you're smart. This is a very simplistic question, but it's what the normal person is asking. Everyday person is saying, what is the best way to deter? Yeah, that's a good word. Deter, because everybody has a remedy. Everybody. What do mosquitoes not like that we can use to not have them come near us?
So mosquitoes, what is well confirmed, do not like the smell of a repellent containing DEET. D-E-E-T.
Need the DEET.
DEET. You have to have the DEET.
Yes, then unpublished data from a colleague of mine sort of shows that tea tree oil and citronella mixed with cream, that has a deterrent effect as well. But you could just to apply it. Otherwise, it's a little bit oily and
Right.
but those two work to deter mosquitoes, at least in South Africa, the species that he tested on there. And the other way is avoiding times when mosquitoes are very active.
And when are they very active?
Well, unfortunately, in Canada, you've got a lot of day-biting mosquitoes.
Right.
So
Day-biting.
So in South Africa, it's a little bit different, or in Africa, it's a little bit different.
Yes.
You know, you get crepuscular mosquitoes mostly, and a few day-biting ones. Here, I will definitely still avoid dusk and dawn. I mean, dusk mostly. So crepuscular time, being outside. If you are outside, you can wear repellents and wear long sleeve shirts just to make it more difficult for the mosquito to actually bite you. But unfortunately, there's no silver bullet.
Yeah, but it's interesting what you just said. I didn't know that about daytime, because I've been to Africa, and of course, when you sleep with a mosquito netting over you. And I remember the first time I was there, and they said, "Oh yeah, you have to sleep with the mosquito netting. We had to have it." Plus, then we actually raised money to take mosquito nets over to Africa for children and things like that. And it never made sense to me because I always thought at night would be a least active time, but they were telling me that at night was the most active time for those mosquitoes.
Yeah, so specifically those mosquitoes that's targeted there are Anopheles mosquito, so the malaria mosquitoes.
Yes, yeah.
And they bite during nighttime.
Right.
And they frequent houses a lot.
Yes.
And in the areas where you were, like Uganda or in tropical areas of Africa, it's a massive problem.
Yeah.
So, you need to sleep under a net.
And at first I never really understood it. I thought, well, I got a typical Canadian mindset. But realized, and then the other thing I learned about that, of course, was the bats. The bats were good to keep the mosquitoes away. And so, again, a bat primarily is a night-born animal, I think.
Yep.
And they were good to keep the mosquitoes
Yeah, so bats are, I'm not a mammologist, so I can't say too much, I guess, but bats are absolutely mosquito-eating machines. I mean, they will eat hundreds of mosquitoes in an evening, and a single bat.
Because I remember, I hate bats, obviously, but I hate them, and I'm freaking out all over the place, and they're telling me, calm down, they're good.
Yep.
They're good to have
doing
around.
a purpose.
Yeah, they had a purpose. And there were a lot of bats. And but again, it's sort of like geckos when I was in St. Vincent and St. Lucia. You want to have them because they eat the mosquitoes and they eat
so everything's sort of linked in the end, one
so
feeds the others.
Everything has a purpose, whether we like it or not.
This is fascinating. I was going to say you're getting me on the verge of not being so negative towards a mosquito. I'm not sure that will happen, but I have a new appreciation for the mosquito.
Yeah, and in Canada it's interesting. I mean, you're sitting here on a sort of cold frontier where that sort of drives the limits of what can survive here. Yeah. So you don't get abundances of mosquitoes, for instance, in Africa that you get in Canada, because of the sort of edge of where you live, and not all predators can survive here, but some of the mosquitoes can, and then you get these massive blooms.
So that actually kind of ties into another question I have, because over the years we've seen the weather patterns, especially in Canada, change dramatically, and the winters sometimes aren't as cold anymore, and even the summers are different. How does that, are you seeing, or is there, are there certain invertebrates that are either dying off because of it, or new ones introduced because of it?
That's a good question.
Well, you'll get both. So you'll get species that need to move into new areas and die off and locally in other areas because of temperature changes, and then you'll get new introductions and species driving northwards or southwards or whatever the case may be. There's other implications as well. Longer summers mean there's more time to find blood meals and lay eggs and run through another life cycle, so that's why you might see mosquitoes being active for longer times of the year, or more active because they have two life cycles instead of one. We've just started tracking mosquitoes to answer those sort of questions now, but it certainly looks like there's major shifts in mosquito species composition in various areas, so it's changing.
So even like the pine beetle, for example, and and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard because our winters are more mild, it's having a harder time with the population. They don't die off with that extreme cold anymore.
Exactly. So that will be part of the problem, but it will happen everywhere. You can imagine things are limited by certain things. So species distribution can be limited due to temperature tolerance or available habitat or whatever the case may be. And if you start tinkering with that like humans have with climate change, you're going to start introducing new thermal limits and new habitats and that sort of...
it's interesting. In your field of study, in Edmonton, Alberta, wherever, are there species of insects that are becoming extinct, or you're worried about them? We hear about bees. We're worried about bumblebees, but are there other insects that that you're worried about that are essential to the whole makeup of the ecosystem that we're struggling with?
Well, the sad thing about insects is that there's so many insects and so few entomologists.
Yeah.
So we don't really have a clue what's going on.
Right.
We know species are disappearing and declining in both numbers, so richness, numbers of species in a place, and then in abundance, so numbers of mosquitoes. And that's happening everywhere. And if we don't have enough data to very clearly know what species are where, it's very difficult to tell which ones are disappearing. Of course, we've got a bunch of species that's protected and that we do know a lot of. You mentioned bumblebees, there's a bunch of them on there. Right. Especially the social parasites are often the first to disappear because they need other bumblebees to parasitize, to stick around. There's a lot of butterflies. Butterflies have a lot of citizen scientists helping out, so we have a lot of extra data, and it's often easier to tell whether species have been around or are disappearing. But most of the species we don't know. I think, from estimates, we've only described between 10 and 60% of mosquito species on the planet.
Right?
So we're looking at, I think there's about 2 million names described, and that's probably in the vicinity, should be around 10 to 15 million insects.
Is incredible.
So we haven't.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so a lot of the tiny little things we've got no idea about, and
Wow. Incredible.
I know.
Yep.
So Loki, tell us about your role and what you do at the Royal Alberta Museum.
At the museum, So it's sort of a diverse profile. Invertebrate Zoology has got a dry collection, which is pinned mosquitoes, and I'll get back to that now. And then we've got a small wet collection that we're growing. A wet collection is insects generally in alcohol, or arthropods in alcohol. And that's used for genetic studies mostly. Some of the animals you preserve in ethanol because that's the way you study them as well, not genetically, just morphologically. And then we've got a live animal collection, sort of a zoo. And and that's under my umbrella as well. So we've got the live animal team, and we've got the dry insect collection and the wet insect collection.
So if someone comes to the museum, what can they see?
On
the insect side.
So what a lot of people don't really know is that museums are not just institutions that exhibit specimens, but they store specimens, and they are research-intensive institutes as well. So,
did you know that?
Well,
that they're research institutes?
Now that Loki says that, it makes sense to me that they're not just exhibits. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going
so
on.
there's a lot of stuff that's not out on display. And there's a big scientific community. So museums run the backbone of biology by keeping what we call specimens that are type specimens. And these specimens are the specimens that's the original specimen tied to the name description. So if you describe a species, you need to select an individual specimen and tie the description to that individual specimen, and that becomes the name-bearing type.
Right.
And all these types are everywhere, deposited in museums all across the world. And if someone else catches a similar species, or perhaps something that they don't know, they can request these type specimens from museums, and we send it all over the world, or send photos all over the world. With postage nowadays, it's not wise to send very important specimens around. But so museums are the backbone of biology by keeping the names that we use, like Homo sapiens or Loxodonta africana, or whatever those things. Those are kept in museums, and we research along those lines, taxonomy.
You must have an incredible network then.
Yeah, I think museums are. It can always improve networks, but so we know each other in different institutions, and And there's a lot of people that do a lot of work writing catalogs, listing the museums with the different species in it.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing with a colleague in South Africa, for instance, is working on horseflies, just documenting the holotypes in their institution, taking nice
horseflies.
photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, horseflies are. So it's another irritating one that I work
I
on.
met a few of them up in the Yukon.
Yeah,
And they
so
were like
they
the
are.
size of ravens.
Yeah.
Like they were massive.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
video footage and stuff. I
And
haven't
they
been,
hurt.
but
When they bite, they hurt.
yeah. So they've got very different strategy to mosquitoes or ticks that want to bite you without. Yeah. So they've got anticoagulants and what do you call it? Compounds that numb you so that you don't feel them going in. And horseflies on the other end is completely different. They've got
You
two
feel
mouth
them gnawing
pads.
on you.
Yeah, so
They
it
have
looks
a
like
compound that hurts.
it looks like scissors.
Yes.
So they cut you open and then they lick up the blood. So we call
Yes.
that pool feeders. It's different to injecting a mouth part into your skin and looking for a capillary. These guys cut you open, and that's why it hurts. And they're persistent, so they will drop down and cut.
Oh, man, if they ever start moving this way down here,
It's usually
No, there's a
north. You
there's a
find
bunch
north.
here. There's a bunch here, but
yeah, you don't see
they
them too
don't
often.
occur in the numbers that they do up north. Yeah.
No, moving on.
No.
This is This is absolutely fascinating. This is incredible. Do you ever do like a very specialized insect display for people, for the general public? Do you have a
Well,
or do you
so,
have? If you go to the museum, is there an area where you're?
Yeah, so we're lucky to have the live collection. As
Yeah.
you can imagine, a small insect on a pin does
Yeah.
not display as well as a
Yeah,
mammoth
yeah.
or something like so. But a live insect collection is fantastic. So we've got the bug room, which there's
I like the
about
bug room. It's very cool.
20 to 30 specimens of species on display, insect species at least, and then there's a bunch of coral, a lot of coral, and some crustaceans, and we've got exciting things happening there over the next few years, which I can't say yet.
Yeah. It's okay.
But so that makes display very competitive with the larger, more aesthetically pleasing, I guess, or
This is
whatever.
fascinating. This is actually very, very. We could go on and
I know
on.
you
This-
haven't
this
been
is-
to the new museum. You have
No,
to go.
I haven't been
It's
yet.
A
No,
you
fantastic
definitely
spot.
have to
But
go,
even
yeah.
this whole conversation is just fascinating in that again, for me, it opens my eyes to things that you just perceive for certain reasons, irritants or whatever, and then you realize there's just so much more to this. It's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
I know, and we have.
And we could go on for a long
We
time.
could.
Yeah,
I know.
you could probably do a
Series.
a whole series or a whole podcast on this whole
I know.
topic. It's like unbelievable. Yeah.
But we do have one final
One
question,
final
that we
question.
ask each and every guest. So, Loki, what is the best piece of advice you have been given, either personally or professionally, that you carry with you to this day?
So that's a difficult one, either personally or professionally. I'm actually not sure. How do people answer questions like that off the
Yeah, that's why we ask. We never give you the heads up because we want the first to stick in your mind.
I guess one of the things that will pop up that's popping up into my head is my dad generally says we're placed on this planet to make life bearable for one another. So I think that's
good.
That is good.
That's very
That
good.
is good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something that sticks to me.
How do people find you? What website should they go to?
So they can, if there's any professional or inquiries about the museum itself, we've got a form they can fill out on the museum website. You can just search for Royal Alberta Museum, and on the website there's a form that will be sent, a research request form.
Right.
Alternatively, I'm adjunct at U of A and at U of S as well, so they can email me through either of those portals.
okay, great.
And
That's awesome.
And if you haven't had an opportunity, if you are from Edmonton, or if you're visiting from out of town, you have to check out the Royal Alberta
I gotta
Museum.
go to the museum. I want to go to.
It is incredible. They've done a fantastic job.
My aunt has a pass, so I'm going to go with her and hang out and check.
Yeah,
it
no,
out.
Definitely come. It's
Yeah,
really
pretty
a
incredible.
fantastic.
This has been fascinating, folks. Like, I've loved every second of this. This is amazing. Opens my mind, and I hope yours to all of this, which is absolutely incredible. I still don't have a new appreciation for mosquitoes, but I understand them better, so I'll go with that.
That's the main thing.
So thanks for listening, everybody. And hey, make sure you tell everybody about the podcast. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies. Even if you don't know somebody, tell them about the podcast.
It's a good way to make a friend.
Make a friend
Yes.
to tell them about the podcast, because it's absolutely incredible. Stories like this. Loki, thank you so much. And make sure you check us out. You can get us wherever you find your podcasts or at www.coffeeinthepark.com. And be sure to
follow us on Instagram. Coffee in the Park with Jen and Cam on Instagram.
Yes.
And subscribe.
Subscribe.
And then you will not miss a new
it'll
episode.
just pop up on your phone, and there you go. We drop it every Thursday. And today was a masterclass in bugs. It is awesome. I loved it. Fascinating and appreciate. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks everyone. See you next week.